Welcome to Hollywood.
Welcome to the Now TV Movies Podcast. I'm your host, Catherine, and I'm joined, as always, by Steve.
Hello.
Ben.
Hello.
And Corey.
Hello.
Welcome to the Now TV Movie Podcast. I'm your host, Catherine, and I'm joined, as always, by Steve.
Hello.
Ben.
Hello.
And Corey.
Hello.
It's Groundhog Day. Sorry. I've been watching that on repeat because Sky Cinema something. Great, classic, I don't know. One of the linear channels is playing it over and over and over again, and it's amazing. So it's just been sit on my desk all day, and I've been watching that and quoting it. So I think I've been annoying Corey with that.
I know it.
Something I found interesting. You guys might be able to shed light on this. I know it's on the channel today. It's Groundhog Day, Groundhog Day, Groundhog Day.
Yep.
And then Dragnet.
Oh, is it really?
Well, yeah. Well, I was wondering if there's any thinking behind why Dragnet was the initial film, because it seemed interesting to me. They thought, what film are we going to follow all this Groundhog Day with, and they chose Dragnet, which
I don't know. I can ask Scott.
that would be, I would love to know. It is of high importance.
All right,
I love Dragnet, by the way. That was like one of the movies, like random films I grew up with, and yeah, it's solid place in my heart. Yeah.
There we go. So what have we been up to, guys? Been a month.
Stuff. I have to say I've been pretty poor with the movie watching this month, which again is a terrible sin for a movie podcast. I did watch the Keanu Reeves film Knock Knock, which I think we've discussed on the podcast before, but it really is something special. It's an odd film because I remember seeing the trailer and thinking this could be fun in that kind of cheesy erotic thriller way. But it has to be seen to be believed because I love Keanu Reeves, but it's not his finest hour. Acting wise, it's unintentionally funny in many ways, but it's Eli Roth is an interesting filmmaker.
Yeah, his ability to have a hit and then follow it very quickly with a massive miss is quite quite amazing. Like I tried that Green. Did you ever watch the Green Inferno? That film?
No, I don't think.
Because I love like cannibal movies and all that, and it was nice to see a movie that was getting like a cannibal genre was getting a modern kind of movie by someone like Eli Roth, who when I think of him, I think about when he tells that anecdote that for the Blu-ray release of Twin Peaks, he had every single original copy of Twin Peaks in the boot of his car because he was the bloke who had to drive it over for David Lynch to like get it all mastered into Blu-ray, and like he's kind of a protege of David Lynch. Supposedly, like David Lynch had him under his wing for a while, and
that's interesting.
And they kind of have this stuff, and then you go and watch some of his movies, and you're just like, what?
I admire him as a because he obviously knows his stuff and he's passionate about movies, and he has he appeared in things like Inglourious Bastards, and I think there was another Tarantino film he was in as well. It might have been the Grindhouse one.
Yes, he probably was in that.
But so I like him, and he's always
I always forget the name of that movie.
He's always likable when he's doing like interviews and things about movies, but Knock Knock is not one of his finest.
No, and that was the same with the Green Inferno. It was. I found that was just it looked good, like it could be good, and it was terrible.
I also watched the Ghost in the Shell, the recent film, which I thought it was okay. It's visually very strong, but I think the problem is it suffers in comparison to Blade Runner, which. I think they came out around the same time, and they both had that similar feel. And to me, it felt like the lesser of the two. I mean, it shouldn't be obviously compared to it, but at the same time, when you've got two films that are so similar, and a lot of the story and the narrative and place it goes well, quite similar to what's covered in Blade Runner. So, but I would love to see the original anime, because I think the story is really strong. I'm not sure if the film does it justice, but...
Have you not seen the original?
I've not. That was my first. That's my introduction to it. So
it's amazing.
Yeah,
he used to be up there with like just slightly behind like Akira and stuff like that. But it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely made me want to check that out. So I will go back and watch the original.
What about you, Ben? What have you been watching?
I watched Murder on the Orient Express. I went to go see that. Which I like the original. I like the ITV Encore Praro version. I like any version of it that I've really ever seen or listened to. Even I've always really liked it. But the issue I had, it's really well directed by Kenneth Branagh. Like one of the things I really liked is when they find the crime scene, he just keeps like the shot above, like, you know, kind of a plan view of the crime scene, and explains where it is. And I guess as a viewer, rather than like quick cuts or anything and like close-ups, it's nice that you kind of get this mapped plan of how the murder happened and all this kind of stuff. And Kenneth Branagh is absolutely brilliant as.
How's Johnny Depp?
He's all right. Like, and obviously,
Johnny Depp, isn't he?
Yeah, and he looks.
Captain Jack Sparrow.
No, and then he looks good in the movie. And obviously, the movie's set in that kind of like it's 1930s, isn't it? 40s kind of time, and you know, he looks fine with his hair slicked back and a cigarette in his mouth, kind of thing. And they all are really good, all of the cast. It was just I had that kind of, I guess, that fatigue, which is as it gets near the end, you kind of go, oh. I know who did this. So it kind of like I kind of lost that momentum at the end. But the first half of the movie is brilliant. I love films set on trains. They're like one of my favourite locations.
Under Siege 2.
Under Siege 2, yeah. Like, and so like it was a really enjoyable experience when you're going along with it. It's just that moment when you realise it's ending and you know what the ending's coming. And that's where I got a little bit of fatigue. But that was just, I imagine, you know, if someone's not seen it, then they probably really enjoy it.
Does it do a good job of like, because it has it has an incredible cast, but do they all kind of get into their roles, or does it feel a lot like spotting the celebrity at times?
There is a little bit of that, especially because there's a couple of cast members that aren't really famous that have like decent roles in it. So you're kind of somewhere between this scene where you've got like William Dafoe doing a great little scene in his spectacles, and then the next time, you know, the next character is this doctor who's, I think, some English guy I've never heard of, kind of thing. And so you kind of, you know, it does kind of come in waves. But the other thing is, obviously, it's great when you have those kind of tracking shots that have the whole cast sitting on their individual tables. But I mean, the nature of how it's kind of filmed and shot in the scenes means that you don't get many times where you've got like these 5 great actors having a debate or having a chat about something. It's kind of a lot of one-on-ones, which is a shame. But, you know, I don't think it takes anything away from the film. I thought it was, again, really, really good.
And to go back to Under Siege 2, that has one of the best quotes ever, which is, I think it's from, I'm going to sound so stupid now if it's not from that film, but I'm pretty sure it is. Assumption is the mother of all fuck-ups.
Yes, that's Under Siege 2, and it's that is an incredible line. It's actually it's one of my guilty pleasures. I love Under Siege 2. It's not a good film, but it's so enjoyable, and it's full of lines like that.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
And again, like I didn't get a chance to see it on the 70mm, but my friend did.
Under Siege 2.
Yeah. And he said again, you know, it was a spectacle getting to watch it in 70mm. But it should win awards. I don't know what ones, but someone could win an award. You know,
someone.
But Kenneth Branagh's moustache as well, because it's one of the all-time cinema moustaches, I think.
It is. It's very impressive. Yeah. And he just spoilers, but when he sleeps, he has a little moustache, kind of like pillow or whatever it would be.
They actually existed, those things.
Yeah.
Which I found. I learnt that on QI.
Wow.
Yeah, you would have a little weird thing that you'd put on your face when you slept to protect it, to make sure it stayed in place and everything.
Well, I feel sorry for whose job it was in that film to kind of keep it looking as good as it does, because that is a
full-time job, that is, literally. And then, the other film I watched was Downsizing, which I won't go into it too much, but obviously the premise is that the world costs so much to live in it, and there's like running out of room. I'm sure the bloke who made the movie sells it better than I do, but and so you have this ability to take like the £200,000 you have, and when you scale it down for you only being like 12 centimeters tall, that is actually worth like millions. And so all these people can go live in these tiny resorts together, all as miniatures. And it was kind of a funny one. As I was watching it, I was like, I knew that idea is like really fun. And when they shoot it like a little kind of, you know, when you see the process happening, it's shot almost like one of those kind of like Google videos and all that kind of stuff with like xylophones playing. And you're like, this is really like interesting and like kind of fun to watch like the marvel of downsizing across the world happen. It's when it then becomes like a bit of a character study or piece about Matt Damon's character that you start to kind of realize that, hang on, like what's going to be the idea? What's the bigger premise of this film? Because the idea is a great idea, so where do they take it as a story? And I think that's where I kind of felt there was a moment when I realised that even though he's only 12 foot tall.
12 foot.
Sorry, 12 centimeters tall. Sorry, he's only 12 foot tall, playing for the NBA. I realised that because the whole movie scaled down because he moves to a miniature town. Like, you don't really ever realise that he's 12 centimeters tall because everything else is scaled around him. So you're just watching a normal movie. It's just that it happened to have this fun 20 minutes at the beginning of the movie that showed that he got miniature, and then after that, kind of like it loses it. And there was really quickly, there was like one interesting bit that I thought was quite like kind of cool. Is like just before he's about to get downsized, this guy goes, well, should you have the same rights as me as a full-size person because you eat that much food now, and you pay like. You're not going to be paying taxes on income because you don't work when you're that small because you just live off your kind of finance. And I thought, that's quite interesting. I told it to my friend, and my other friend went, I can't believe they tried to shoehorn that like kind of idea into a movie like that where they started to get like political and should you have the right to do that. And so
was that the end of it? Was that it?
No, that was really early on in the beginning, like kind of thing. And so I thought like, oh, that's an interesting. I wonder how many people would pick that up as a good point or pick that up as a bad point. So I guess it has some.
So the whole shrinking thing, does that happen pretty much straight away?
Yeah, and then the first 15, 20 minutes.
And then it needs a strong narrative after that, I guess.
Yeah, and that's I think the issue. I mean, again, it was an enjoyable-ish film. It was just you kind of sit there and go, I thought the movie would be about shrinking, but we're not just about Matt Damon like living a mundane life.
I recommend.
But he happens to be 12 centimeters tall.
The Incredible Shrinking Man. If you haven't seen that,
I haven't seen that.
That's really good.
I've seen Inner Space.
Inner Space also good fun.
Yep.
But yeah, that's my favourite film about someone being shrunk. I mean, there's many. It's a big genre.
Yeah,
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah. Brilliant.
That's up there. That's one of the best. But I really like the concept of downsizing. So I've heard mixed things, but I like the idea.
And that's why I watched it, because I was like, I like this idea, and I had no idea it would go to where it went.
You'd think it'd be more about the decisioning.
Yeah.
Of making that choice. That's what, because from the trailers, that's what I assumed it was about. That, what would bring you to make that decision to go, oh yeah, I'm going to shrink, then never go big again? Because that's what it says, right? Is that once you've done it, you can't go big. So it's like that's quite a big decision. So just to do it in like 15 minutes, I feel is maybe a little wasted.
Oh, definitely. The one tiny thing I did like is they talk about how you need to get all your fillings replaced, because if you don't, as you shrink,
they're really big.
like your head blows up, kind of thing. I was like, I quite like,
That's a good idea.
Yeah, they hint at these little things, which I was kind of like, if the movie had been like Toys or something like that, these movies that are about the company that do the downsizing, that would have been really interesting. But it isn't, and I thought that was a kind of a loss. I would have rather have followed the industry, like something like Hudsucker Proxy or something that's about this company doing this thing, as opposed to some bloke just running for it.
Who's like the antagonist? Is there any? You kind of think, is there like a full-size human that's determined to step on them?
I was thinking exactly the same thing. I don't know why. I'm just going like that. I squeezed my fingers together like I was squeezing a little person, because, again, you can't see that. Sorry, what about you, Corey?
So I've been back playing a computer game, actually, for the first time in a long time.
What does your wife think about that?
Yeah, she's away at the moment.
Oh, that's why then.
So there you go. So, and it's the Lord of the Rings game, so that's gotten me in the mood. And pretty much like most weekends, I watch Lord of the Rings again. So whichever one I can find.
Do you watch all of them in like one weekend?
I have, Steve.
Yeah,
I have. Easily though.
As well, the extended ones.
Yeah, I have the Return of the King extended version, which I think they should. The bit with the mouth of Sauron that comes out, they should really use that. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And he comes up in the game actually, which is great. Anyways, I watched Lord of the Rings. I won't go into it because I'll probably say that every single time.
Really quickly, sorry, just to draw Lord of the Rings. I think, like you said, you watch all three of them every time. If I was to look back at how I've watched those, I think I've watched The Fellowship of the Ring probably like 11 times or like loads. the second one 3 or 4 times, and the last one like once or twice. I definitely don't. They're not equal. I don't start it and get to the end. I often.
I like the third one the best, actually.
Yeah, same here.
Because that's where all the action is. Because it's all like culminating in the end.
But by that point, do you need to see any more
And
swords hit swords?
But the thing
I've
is,
just seen enough swords hit a sword. Like,
I'm not a very good New Zealander in the fact that I had never seen Lord of the Rings until the third one came out, and I went straight into the third one. I saw it at the cinema. Because what was great about it is that because I'm from Wellington, and that's where some of them was being filmed, and so we would go and play golf, and you go past this quarry, and one day there was nothing, and then all of a sudden there was just this massive castle that they'd built into the wall, and and you'd see them doing the filming of it. It was amazing. And then they had the premieres on like the main street in Courtney Place. And I remember yelling at Elijah Wood when I was a teenager, and him turning around and looking at because everyone was screaming because we don't know like having a big celebrities like that in the country. You're not used to it, and you've only seen it on TV. And so when we had this massive thing, and so we're like going all a bit crazy. I was 16 or something stupid. And so we screamed out at the same time to try and get his attention. And he turns around, and we took a picture just as he was turning and looking at us. And so it's like, oh, that's great. So that was the highlight of my childhood. But yes, I went straight into the third one, and that's probably why I like it the most, because I didn't have all the swords and the other stuff before it.
It tends to be the fan favourite, though, isn't it?
I got really bad sword fatigue by the time I watched that. I was just like, I can't see another battle. So bored of these battles. And I don't mean that like it's not because I don't enjoy a good battle. I've just watched like 3 hours of them.
9 hours, you mean?
Well, no. I know the movie's that long, but there's literally like 3 hours of solid battle. Battling between the first two.
Especially number 2. Yeah. The Helm's Deep. That's a lot of. That's a lengthy battle. Anyways, I also watched Go.
Yep.
On
Katie Holmes.
Yeah, starring Katie Holmes. Timothy Oliphant as well. He's really, really good. I actually watched this years ago. I remember it's from.
Was it 98 or 99?
99, I think. And it's like a night in the life of a bunch of teens, and it's kind of slightly connected-ish. And but it's really, really. I've forgotten how cool it is. Cool soundtrack. Yeah, great acting. The story's really cool. It's shot really well. Kind of like goes back on itself as well, like and tells the story in the life of this bunch of characters, and it plays it out. It kind of ends, then it goes back. You see the same thing again, but then it tails off to show another bunch of characters and how their story kind of went. Absolutely fantastic. I thought it was brilliant. I remember why I loved it.
Yeah, because I started to watch it as well this month, but then I had to stop because I wasn't in the right mood for it, and it was just making me so depressed.
Is it one of those?
It was like
quite a depressing movie.
I think it's because you're a teenager. Some decisions you make are not the best, and it's just kind of it's too tense. And you're just waiting for something bad to happen, and I wasn't in the mood for that. I wanted something funny.
Yeah, it's like that kind of kids film. Is it like? I guess it's tonally not like that.
It's nothing like that.
I was gonna say that's pretty.
Because that is depressing.
That's one of that's a tough movie.
You don't hear that movie anymore, do you?
No.
Like, no one brings kids, or you don't.
Because I think everyone was just so traumatized by that film.
Yeah, I had to watch it for film studies, and I just remembered, like, by the end of it, I don't want to ever see this film again. Like, I admired things about it, but at the same time, it was just like, come on.
Yeah. We try to escape with movies. It's like, this is too real for this.
Take me back to reality. Let me turn this film off. I feel so much better. That's a good one.
It's like have any of you seen the movie Kes?
Yes, I have.
No,
yeah. See, that is an incredible movie, but it's also one of the bleakest films you will ever see.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think I could ever watch it again.
No, I think once is enough.
Yeah.
Now, surely, what's that film beats it? Where the dude gets his arm taken off.
RoboCop.
No, because I'm glad, Steve. No, he's addicted to heroin and loses his arm, and his mum goes.
Requiem for a Dream.
It can't be as depressing as that.
No,
that is. That is.
But also on that, it's Aronofsky, isn't it? Because you've got like The Wrestler again is like great movie, but by the end of it, you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I never watched.
So The Wrestler, though, I've watched twice.
It's really good.
So it's quite weird. Whereas Requiem for a Dream, I have watched that once. I will never watch it again, and I still have flashbacks of the scenes in that movie, one in particular, and it's haunted me. Like, so I think that shows how brilliant it is, but how devastating it is, and the effect that it can have on people.
Yeah. Yeah, I've only watched it once. I mean, again, I think I get some flashbacks or some scenes. I'm not sure if they're the same scenes.
I think most of his stuff...
Probably not, because mine involves Jared Leto and a very disgusting arm.
Yeah, mine involves Jennifer Connelly. So.
Of course it does.
See, I've not seen Mother yet, but I suspect that's going to have a... Because, like, even Black Swan...
Yeah.
I've only seen that once, and I think there was things in that. It wasn't anywhere near as impactful as The Wrestler and all that, but there were things in that movie that were like, oh, I don't need to see that.
The pulling off of the skin on the fingernail, that was the worst bit. Which is funny, because it's not that bad, but I think it's just because it was just the way that it zoomed in. But Black Swan I've watched probably about 5 times. I really like that movie. I think it's very, very good.
But yeah, he's a tough filmmaker. And I would have loved to have seen his RoboCop. We referenced it, but he was involved with RoboCop at one point.
Really?
He was going to, the remake, he was going to be the director, and then it fell through.
That would have been amazing.
I think he would have done, something really interesting with that.
Okay, well, I've been watching a few films on Now TV. I watched Lolo, which is a Julie Delpy movie. So it's French. It's a bit weird. I kind of liked it. But yeah, it's about a mother and a son and a weird kind of relationship they have, and she gets a new boyfriend, and then it's about the weird relationship with the son and all this kind of stuff. It's a bit weird.
And the mother?
Yeah, no, not when I say relationship, I don't mean that kind of relationship. I mean, they have a mother and son relationship, and then she has a relationship with a man. What is like a partner relationship? I don't know. How do you differentiate between the different relationships? Anyway, but yeah.
Who you're kissing and on the cheek and on the lips is how I define my relationships.
Okay. Good for you, Ben.
Mum gets on the lips. Anyway, let's carry on.
That's terrible. But yeah, it's worth a watch. I kind of enjoyed it, but then it was kind of weird. But still, I liked it. Anyway, then I also watched Hidden Figures, which is brilliant. Very, very good. Yeah. I would recommend that a lot. And Get Out, watch that for the first time. Very, very good. I really like that as well.
Did you? I know you're not crazy on horror. Did you?
No, I was all right. I was just tense. I don't think I was scared. I didn't jump. I don't think.
Yeah, it's one of those films. I think it's like a prolonged uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's less.
Yeah. It's also like the reveals are good enough that you kind of sit there and go, ooh, like it's so intriguing. There's like an intriguing horror, isn't it? Where you want
and it's
not
know. It's not overly gory or anything like that. It's just it's very well done.
I think it's very clear. Some of the script is so good. I think it was really, really good.
I enjoyed it just as much a second time around. Actually, I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, with it. Yeah.
And then the other movie I was watching, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, which was brilliant. But that was really, really good. Frances McDormand, amazing. Sam Rockwell, amazing. Very, very funny. Heartbreaking, and just brilliant. So I can't recommend that movie enough. And then I also watched Lady Bird, which is the Greta Gerwig one, which has been up for quite a lot of Oscars, or both of them actually. So they said the Oscar nominations came out. What do you guys think about them? Because I'm obviously very excited that there's another female director that has been nominated, which, I'm not sure she's going to win because, she's up against Nolan for Dunkirk.
Yeah.
And Nolan is the favourite, is that correct?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But Lady Bird is brilliant. I really, really enjoyed it. It's I think one of the best coming of age movies I've seen in a very long time. And it's the script is clever. I'm not going to say her name because I don't know how to. It's like Saoirse Ronan. I don't know.
Saoirse, I think.
Saoirse
Ronan.
Yeah. She's brilliant. Her mum is brilliant in it as well. And do you remember Roseanne?
Yeah.
The sister.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
She's the mum.
From Big Bang.
From Big Bang? What?
Big Bang Theory. Sheldon's mom.
I don't know.
I've never watched Big Bang Theory.
I tried to watch it once and I hated it.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Do you remember Scream 2?
Scream 2?
Scream 2.
Yes, that's her.
Yeah, she plays Skeet Ulrich, who's the killer. I can't remember what his name is in the first one.
His mum?
His mum.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I've forgotten what her name is, but she's amazing in it. She's brilliant. And it's so good. It's really, really good. So
I mean, there's been a bit of debate around 3 Billboards whether or not it's gonna, because it's one of the favourites, but at the same time there's been a bit of controversy around it. Do you think it's?
What is the controversy? Did I miss that?
There's been a what is it around? Let me have a look.
I saw Sam Rockwell on the subway in New York.
Did you just?
Yeah.
Did you hug him and go, "I love you" in everything you do?
Well, no. He didn't look that approachable, to be honest.
Okay.
I mean, and he looked. I mean, he was really dressed down.
Okay.
Like a right scrub.
He looked really scruffy. He had some like kind of yellow tinted shades on, and he just looked. He looked like he didn't want anyone to bother him. Yeah. And no one was. It's probably the way in New York.
Yeah, he's so cool, man. Yeah. I love him so much. Like even in like Charlie's Angels, he is cool, and like the way he dances, and it's just I love you so much.
Just when you said it, I thought of like, you know, Moon. Like the main films I recognise is like Moon, Don Vidian, which is brilliant, and that Choke film. Which,
that was
again,
weird.
no one remembers that. But that Choke film's like brilliant.
So he relates to the controversy. So it's around his character, Sam Rockwell, and a lot of people are angry about how the film treats racism quite casually. That's the argument, anyway.
I think they're being oversensitive. To be honest, because I think it's obviously set in the South. It's in Missouri. They're not necessarily known for the equal treatment of people. And I think that there's a few times in the script where obviously it's mentioned, but I think it's that it's people aren't seeing people for who they are, if that makes sense. And I think that then it's that the characters are kind of only seen on a top level, and it's not until as the film progresses that you see it deeper. I don't know if that makes any sense whatsoever.
No, it does. I think it's just interesting, like, because the discussion at the moment is whether or not it's going to hurt its chances. But again, I kind of feel like, you know, if it's, as you say, the film is justified, and it kind of, as it goes on, it works within the film.
If it's doing it to establish something to later break it down.
No, it definitely does.
Yeah. People just love a controversy.
Yeah,
well,
I think they do.
I think what people are comparing it to with is what happened with La La Land as well last year, where there was a sudden backlash about the fact that Ryan Gosling's character, like, you know, was...
Oh, no, it's nothing like that.
Jazz and all that stuff. But it'll be interesting to see.
It's the...
chances.
So Sam Rockwell's character, he's a cop. He's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. And I think it's just that he has been... he's been brought up by a bigot, and he has and he doesn't seem to have many friends, and so he doesn't learn kind of outside what he's been raised with, and so it's showing the small-mindedness of what people can be because they aren't open to things and they haven't seen that. So it's nothing like casting a white man when they shouldn't. and he did not create jazz, which, anyway. But, I think it's nothing like that at all. It's completely fits his character.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still up there as was one of the favorites. I think the other film that people are saying is a contender is Shape of Water, which does look incredible.
Yeah, I've not followed that too much, but I love that guy's work.
I think it's the favourite for Best Picture at the moment. So.
Yeah, it's supposed to be brilliant. Sally Hawkins is supposed to be brilliant. My colleague with the screeners, that's supposed to be my next one, and I have not heard about it, so I need to chase him for it because it's not out here until like the 14th of February. So,
but I think one thing that's going to be interesting with the Oscars is Dunkirk is nominated for quite a lot. And I think where that film came out so early, it's almost been overshadowed by quite a lot of films.
Stuff,
But if it does fairly well at the BAFTAs, it might be interesting to see, what's going to happen with that. Maybe people aren't, kind of underestimating how well it might do. Because I do think Christopher Nolan is possible shoe-in for director. I think it's long overdue.
I think so as well.
So that will be interesting to see.
Has he never won a Best Director?
No.
I think he was nominated before. I could be wrong. But he's never won an Oscar.
What do you guys think about Meryl Streep being nominated for an Oscar again?
The second I saw the trailer for the post, I was like, nomination.
Well, it's like she's in a movie. She's nominated. Because it's like she's nominated, but Tom Hanks isn't.
But I think what's good this year is that she's nominated, but there's so many other great performances from actors.
Yeah, you can't actually pick
she's not the favourite, and
No.
I don't think she'll win because there's been so many other great performances. I think Meryl Streep's a great actress, but I think the other nominees this year are a lot
I
more
think that
justified.
that category is going to be a hard one to pick because I think all of them deserve it.
I'm really struggling. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really struggling this year because I always watch the Oscars every year, and I always make bets on.
Yeah,
I
we always do
predictions, I make
sweepstakes.
bets. Yeah. And last year, I remember doing it and kind of going, yep, I think I know where this is going to go. And there's loads of categories this year where I'm like, I genuinely don't know.
Yeah, and when you look at them, you're like, I have no idea which way you're going to go.
Boss Baby. That's all.
Boss Baby's the shoe-in. Yeah.
There's
my mortgage on that.
but I still can't. So I think the biggest nub is Lego Batman. That should have been in that for me. That was way better than Boss Baby. I found Boss Baby very, very strange.
I can't say I want to see.
I was just intrigued. Because I love Alec Baldwin, and I remember watching the trailer and it freaked me out knowing that he was going to voice a baby. So I was like, okay, well, what can this movie be about? And I didn't even read the synopsis or anything. And then I went in and watched it. And imagine a movie about a talking baby. You will never guess what the plot of that movie is about.
All right. Okay.
Which just... It's like you're on an acid trip sometimes in that movie, and you need to watch the movie and then watch the honest trailer, or just watch the honest trailer, and that tells you what the movie is like because it messes with your mind.
I'm gonna watch it.
But not in a good way.
Oh, well,
I still think you should watch it because I'd be really interesting to get your takes on it because I found it weird.
I feel like it would be really foolish to bet against Pixar. I think Coco's nominated. I think it's probably
I think it has to be.
But I'm also intrigued by the fact that the second favourite is a film called Loving Vincent, which I'm not sure if any of you guys have seen.
Oh, well, it's all animated to look like his paintings.
Exactly,
I saw a clip of it the other day. It looked brilliant.
It's a film about Vincent van Gogh, and it's been created by a number of artists who have basically every single shot in the film is a watercolour painting.
Oh, wow.
And it looks absolutely stunning. So I kind of feel like surely that's more of an achievement. But I don't know. I think Coco's the shoe-in.
I think, because...
Very quickly about that. I mean, Vincent van Gogh, he lived in Isleworth, so I've got a vested interest because I want to see Isleworth finally make onto the big screen.
Or Vinny.
Long overdue.
Yeah, it is.
Your mate Vinny.
Yeah, so I can't wait to see that. Yeah, I mean, there's no way they'll be able to paint that to look remotely nice. however talented the artist is they get in.
Yeah, and do you guys think it's more diverse this year, the nominees?
Yeah. I hope Jordan Peele get something for original screenplay.
Yeah, I mean that's that's what I'm going with. I think Get Out is going to win for screenplay. Yeah, I think it should.
It's up against some tough competition.
That's the thing. Yeah,
it's a really hard year. There's been so many good movies, and so many clever. I think this has been actually my favorite year of movies in a very long time. I think there's just been so many good ones.
I mean, I think. It's tough because I think if one of those films, what happens at the Oscars normally is a certain film will, always have the predominant. I mean, I think last year was an exception because I think it was kind of even. A lot of films had different, it was not one film kind of had the spread of the awards. But this year, I wonder if something like if The Shape of Water wins Best Film, will it win original screenplay and vice versa if it's 3 Billboards or whatever? Because I would love to see Get Out win screenplay.
It would be great if they kind of shared them all out, and so then you have no idea who's going to win Best Picture.
They're always the most enjoyable ones to watch, definitely. So hopefully that's the way it goes.
Well, we'll find out in March, and leading up to the Oscars, we do have an Oscars collection. We have over 100 Oscar-winning movies available on Now TV that you can sink your teeth into. Ben will be putting that into a collection for you.
Yep, I will.
We've also got some other great movies coming this month. There's King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, available from today. Chips, which is the remake of or reboot of the TV show, which stars Dax Shepard and Michael Pena or Pena. Okay. On the 9th, there's another remake of a TV show. It's Baywatch with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in it and Zac Efron. On the 16th, there's Fast and Furious 8, which is the 8th movie in the franchise. And you have to watch this movie to believe it, because some of the scenes in it are amazing. Honestly,
I've only ever seen 5, 7, and 8, and my
selection.
opinions are that those films are amazing, and I don't want to break that opinion, so I'll never watch any of the other ones.
They're very different. Like if you was to watch the first one and the 8th one back to back, you would be so confused as to how that series has progressed. Like,
it's because when we had it on, we had all 7 of them, and 8 was in the cinema or something. I went through them all, and because I'd never seen Tokyo Drift at that point, and
isn't that set out of?
It's set out of order, so it's that it goes. This is so sad. I know this. The Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious. Fast and Furious, Fast 5, Fast 6, Fast 7, Fast 8, then Tokyo Drift. Like, so Tokyo Drift is like in the future, yet they all have like weird flip phones.
All right.
Because obviously it was filmed at that point in time, and then you see Vin Diesel at one point in it. It's messed up. But
so just out of curiosity, so they all is it meant to tell the end of their tale? The Tokyo Drift.
Tokyo Drift is the only one I've not seen.
Because is it like even 8 and 9? Will we ever surpass Tokyo Drift and carry on?
I don't know because it's
so confusing.
I know. I know.
Yeah, I think they've moved past Tokyo Drift.
I think so.
I haven't seen
Jason,
all Tokyo Drift.
I'm sure Jason Statham was part of Tokyo Drift. I could be wrong.
That's right. No, it's not. He's technically part of it. It's that they did a nod to it in Fast 8 or Fast 7. In that, I'm going to give you a really big spoiler here. I don't know what his name is though. That Asian dude, obviously in Tokyo, he dies, and it's that Jason Statham apparently killed him in Tokyo, and then so I think that's around Fast 6 or.
So
Fast
he wasn't
7?
in it, but they do a bit of like retconning.
Yeah, and so then they've shown a bit in the latest one to show that it was him, and they reshot it or did something to make it look like it was. So now we're past Tokyo Drift. I'm with you. All right.
Nice, perfect.
Anyway, and then there's
world's back
a
in
lot
order.
of complexities.
Nice,
I'm going to have to watch them all over again.
And then there's the Mummy at the end of the month, which is the reboot, new universe, whatever, with Tom Cruise. Cool. And so for the random movie of the month, this month, we watched the great rom-com with Matthew McConaughey and Sarah Jessica Parker, Failure to Launch. What did we all think?
So, you're looking at
You go first, Corey. I'm passing it to you.
Okay, I'm going to say I thought it was all right. I thought it was absolutely fine.
Did you finish it?
I did finish it.
Good.
I finished it because I'm less so now, but I love a rom-com. I love a good rom-com. You've Got Mail. Every time it's on.
No, I hate that one.
No, every time it's on, I absolutely love it.
Sleepless in Seattle was so much better.
No, I don't know. I just love You've Got Mail. Still get emotional at the end.
I do like You've Got Mail for just how dated it is now. Yeah. Like how it sums up that early, like not early, but mid-90s AOL culture. I do like that about it.
Email, chat rooms. And but anyways, I thought the story wasn't fantastic, but then it was just I just found it just a really standard rom-com.
But no, it was not, because most of it was the weird animal attacks.
Oh,
like I was going, what the fuck is going on?
I thought that was funny, but I was really disappointed at the one at the end. I thought, because that was the only bit that made me laugh. Say you call it a rom-com, I didn't really laugh. Apart from when he got attacked a little
just
bit.
A rom.
It was a rom.
Then he gets attacked twice in the film by
three times, isn't it?
Yes. Well, isn't the end when he's in the sea with a dolphin, and then the dolphin comes up to him, and you think, oh yeah, the dolphin's gonna get him in.
No, because that was the metaphor of the whole animal attack thing. Is that he's now with nature.
Yeah.
That was the weirdest part of it. It's like someone had gone, no, it's too boring. Like it's too standard rom-com. How do we make it a bit different? Animal attacks.
It's kind of just thrown in
everything.
there.
Because I think it was a rom-com, but as you were saying, Ben, it's just not. It wasn't very funny, and I think the animal attacks were there as a kind of like, here's something else. I don't know.
Yeah. I thought it would have been fun. Well, not funnier, but just better had it not had the animal attack scenes. Because the one with the chipmunk, that was just so over the top. But I did like when a dolphin bit him on the leg. That was quite funny.
It's how would you all rank it in the Matthew McConaughey romantic comedy scale? Like,
it's no 10 How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Do you think that's the benchmark?
That's the benchmark. Oh yeah.
Yeah, for me it's kind of lower tier.
What's his other one? It's Fool's Gold. Is that a rom-com?
Yes, it is. That's with Kate Hudson again.
Yeah.
They play a divorced couple or trying to get divorced couple, and he finds out, but they're also like treasure hunters, and he's a diver. And
Has Ray Winston doing an American accent?
Oh well.
Sold.
Let me the DVD please. Nothing entertains me more than that.
What's the other one? Ghosts of Girlfriends Past.
Oh
yeah.
He's done some great movies, hasn't he?
I'll tell you what. Yeah.
Anyway.
Before True Detective, eh?
Well done. I mean, well done for climbing out of that hole.
I know, he did great.
Well done.
Yeah, Mud was amazing.
Yeah.
And then Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah, Dallas Buyers Club. Really good, yeah.
And so, Ben, you've been a little bit quiet.
Yeah, I fell asleep watching it and watched it very late one night and kind of started with it and drifted off very quickly about it. So I got to keep myself. I knew it wasn't for me, and so like I say, I got a couple of minutes in and I couldn't really handle it.
A couple of minutes.
Yeah, and I thought I'd just go watch some
I'll just
stuff
shut my eyes.
So if we compare it to the other movies we've watched in this challenge, it didn't hold your attention as much as The Perfect Nanny.
No, Perfect Nanny had me
still
to the end. Yeah,
I think that is still the benchmark.
That is the benchmark, definitely. Yeah.
I still think that was the
because it's out of nowhere.
best one.
It's out of nowhere, but like a cast, we didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And it just delivered so simply and easily,
I
and
know.
in so many
Failure
ways.
to Launch, I didn't think I had seen it, and then it got to about halfway through, and I was like, "Oh no, yeah, it's that one. It's that."
You
movie.
buried it down there somewhere in the sunken place.
Yeah. Yeah,
Brilliant.
but it's watchable. I think, as you were saying, Corey, it's kind of like it's just
I didn't.
standard rom-com.
I didn't struggle to finish it. Like, there's been a few that we've had on this challenge where I have struggled to finish and like to focus on it and watch it fully. Whereas actually, I was just sitting there watching it on like a Monday night, just kind of going, yeah, it's fine. I think it was fine. Yeah. Nothing brilliant, obviously, except for when he got bitten by a dolphin. All right, are you guys ready to find out what this next month?
Absolutely.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Oh, it's kind of good, and I watched it recently, which is a bit annoying. But it if I said, well, what would I be talking about? Wait.
Is that? I looked over your shoulder, so.
Oh,
sorry.
you can ask him.
Aquel, that sounds like Welsh.
It's not, though.
Is it French?
Well, I think he's French. Yeah, he's French. His name is Serge, or Serge, as Achuel likes to call him. This is the third in a trilogy.
Oh,
Get the out of here! No, I cannot!
thought I had it. I don't.
I have no idea.
Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Oh, nice.
So that's the one at the fairground.
It is.
Yes.
Wonder World.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I've watched that fairly recently as well, actually.
I had a Beverly Hills Cop marathon over 3 nights. We watched the first one, and then it's like, oh no, we need to watch the second one. And we watched the second one, and it's like, yeah, we watched the third one. And then we watched the third one.
I think it may be a good excuse to just watch the whole trilogy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I will do that.
And for some reason, I'd watched the first one a couple of times. I'd watched the second one once, and then I'd watch the third one like 10 times. I don't know why. It's really and when you watch them in order now, the first one is the best, and then the second one is still quite good, and then the third one is just like, whoa, someone just had a bit too much free reign on that. But I still really like it, and it's really quotable.
Is it was the third one watered down? There's less. Is that right? Is there less swearing in it?
No.
Is there like plenty?
There's lots.
Okay. Well, I must be thinking of something else.
Yeah, no, 'cause there's lots of explosions. It's a bit hammy in parts, but it's still really enjoyable because
Well,
Cool.
folie.
look forward to next week to hearing Catherine say that again.
Yeah, I still just love that. Out of here! I have been swearing a lot on this one. For
Yeah,
you,
the
Steve.
bleep machine is going to be an overdrive on this one.
Can we all have a swear there?
Go for it. Yeah.
If you're going to bleep it all out, I don't.
Cool. Well, now we've got all
work for you,
the.
Steve.
Well, okay. On that happy note, that's it for this month, and we'll look forward to. Oh, man, every time I want to say C and it just doesn't work. I'm so sorry. I need to work on my sign-offs here. In March, though, we've got some great movies coming that we'll be talking to you about, which was Spider-Man Homecoming, Wonder Woman, Despicable Me 3, Snatched, and Baby Driver. So there's those to talk about. And so we'll be watching Beverly Hills Cop 3 this month, as well as loads of others, which we will chat to you about next time. And happy movie watching.